welcome back to episode 122 of the Wrestling Rundown. This will be our last video this week.
Hence why I'm wearing shorts.
Me too. But we had an interesting...
Casual Thursday.
We had a mixed bag here on the midweek wrap-up. We got a little bit of everything. We got some debuts, we got some betrayals, we got some things that don't really matter.
Speaking of things that don't matter, how about main event?
Main event where we open up with the Hype Bros taking on the Vaudevillains.
Oh my god. Epitomize things that don't really matter.
Yeah, because...
Mojo Rawley.
And the Vaudevillains are the new Ascension, because the Ascension are actually getting a storyline right now against Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder. So, needless to say,
basically against Zack Ryder.
The Hype Bros defeat the Vaudevillains with a Hype Rider on Aiden English. Though, we will say, Aiden English, props to you, my man. You are trying to get yourself noticed, and we appreciate the work that you put in.
We, at the Wrestling Rundown, are noticing.
We'd book you. And then in the main event, we had Jack Swagger defeating Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze was playing very heel. He kept trying to get out of the ring, doing a little bicycle kick to try and back Jack Swagger off. But eventually, he hits a sunset flip on Swagger. Swagger kicks out and rolls right into a Patriot lock and makes Tyler Breeze tap out. So let's move on to NXT. Where we open up with...
Are we booking Aiden English on the new Wrestling Rundown Pro Wrestling? WRPW?
Werper?
Werper?
Yeah.
Coming to nowhere in nothing near you this season.
Moving on. NXT, we were focusing on the Dusty Classic here. Our first match had a lot of hype around it, because
don't even use that word.
A lot of fanfare around it, because
quite the hullabaloo.
Because we have technically two debuts here, because we're debuting two brand new teams into the Dusty Classic.
One of them being the team that was so anticipated and so lauded since their first imminent contact with each other.
Yeah.
That being the Glorious 10, Ty Dillinger and Bobby Roode.
Yeah, so we had the Glorious entrance, we had the Perfect 10 entrance, and then we had them kind of like trying to one-up each other a little bit.
Yeah.
Trying to get, what was more over, Glorious or 10. But once that came to a close, we had the debut...
Aces and Eights.
No, of Sanity. Because WWE stables stick around.
Aces and Eights had like a year-long run.
It wasn't a year long. It was like 4 months, and they fell apart real fast. All on their own. No, so like the entrance, the music... Like, the crowd was already really fucking hyped.
The coolest part for me was the entrance.
Yeah.
And it's because they had the searchlights.
Yeah.
Flashing all over the crowd.
It starts with kind of like a police scanner, like you'd hear over in a police car or in a helicopter or something, where it's like, they're searching for suspects and stuff like that. And so, yeah, like the entire arena is blacked out except for that one spotlight that just kind of like wavers over them, ever so often. And there's 4 members of this group.
Yeah.
Which, once they get down to the ring, the team that is involved in the Dusty Classic is revealed to be Alexander Wolf and Sawyer Fulton. So, upon, when we first saw the Sanity promos, that's who you kind of...
Yeah.
You found out, we said, okay, that's probably who it is.
They were wrestling in house shows in, the post-apocalyptic, rundown, leather and denim...
Exactly. So, yeah, it
outfits.
seemed to fit, but there's 2 other members of this group. So, you get Sawyer Fulton and Alexander Wolf immediately going to work on Ty Dillinger. One of the things I really like they did is... Fulton did a shoulder thrust and held Ty Dillinger in the corner while Wolf jumped on his back and started punching Ty in the face. I thought that was really creative double team offense. And so it's pretty much a slaughter of Ty Dillinger. Bobby Roode's not even taking his jacket off.
No.
He tries to step in a couple times, and
every time he does, like, whoever's in the ring just sort of turns to him, and he's just like,
yeah, he was not in any way worried about getting in the ring and dealing with this at all. Eventually, he just up and leaves, and it doesn't take very long for him to do that. And then you see this look of I have nowhere to go wash over the face of Ty Dillinger. He's like reaching.
He even yells like, Bobby!
He's like reaching for the ropes, and then he realizes that he's just surrounded and there's nowhere for him to go. Bobby takes the fuck off. Ty ends up getting hit with a suplex power slam combo.
I'll call it a pendulum power slam.
It's a cool move, a very creative double team finisher. Sanity moves forward in the Dusty Classic, and then we get the smallest member of the group suddenly just start thrashing on Ty Dillinger, and they end up they're all wearing masks. You can't tell who any of them are until they take them off, and then this little person takes their jacket off and their mask, and it's Nikki Glencross, who we saw a few weeks ago, who was all hyped up and happy and glad to be in the women's division and all kinds of stuff, and she's losing her fucking mind.
Yeah.
And just going to town on Ty Dillinger. She ends up having to be stopped. And then
by the person who I'm assuming is the leader of the group.
Yeah, it's very, very much.
It was the guy who was leading them as they were walking to the ring.
And he was the last to unmask himself, and it is none other than the what's he call himself? The world-class maniac, Eric Young.
Yeah.
Leading quite the eclectic group.
Kind of like Aces and Eights. Which, by the way, debuted July 2012 and wasn't officially disbanded until November 2013.
Oh, that's because you had Bully Ray and the two members that no one gives a shit about.
They're still there.
Aces and Eights died at the end of that year. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting group to see what the future holds for them. They're obviously moving on to the second round of the tournament. So yeah, we'll see where Sanity ends up going. And we actually had one of the backstage interviewers catch up to Bobby Roode as he's running away, and they're like,
yeah, Sanity. Their opponents are either going to be, I believe, Lince Dorado and Mustafa Ali, or Kota Ibushi and Hideo Itami.
Probably Kota and Hideo. So that'll be an interesting be an interesting matchup in the tournament. But Bobby gets stopped, and they're like, she asks him, like, what happened out there? You just up and left, and he's like, well, I didn't want to be in the tournament to begin with. Like, Ty Dillinger pretty much begged me to be his tag team. Or do I look like a tag team wrestler? And we're like, yeah, you did Team Canada, you did Beer Money, you did the Dirty Heels. So yeah, you do kind of look like a tag team wrestler. But he wanted nothing to do with it, and then he took off. So I think Ty's gonna have some issues with Bobby later on.
Bobby, you got some splaining to do.
We also had Billie Kay and Peyton Royce in the back. Oh my God, these women. Talented, beautiful, kind of bitches though. Billie Kay
like making fun of Liv Morgan.
Yeah, Billie Kay looking forward to beating up Liv Morgan and maybe even making her match last a little bit longer than Liv Morgan's attempt at beating Asuka did. Because Billie Kay just wants to have her way with her, and she kind of did for the majority of it, because she's so much bigger than Liv Morgan is.
Yeah.
So Liv is feisty, and she's got some gusto to her, but Billie Kay is hard to maneuver around because she's as tall as she is.
She's got a lot of reach.
Yeah, and it didn't help that she had Peyton Royce in her corner, though. Peyton didn't get involved until towards the end.
Well, yeah, Peyton was the reason why Billie Kay officially got the win.
Yeah, because Liv was going off the ropes, ends up getting tripped up by Peyton Royce, and as she's looking down, her like, "What the hell are you doing?" She turns around right in that Billie Kay boot, and Billie Kay picks up the win over Liv Morgan. So, Are you thinking we're gonna get Asuka as a coming into this and making it a tag team match, or do you see someone else coming?
I have a feeling that it's going to be Asuka just by the sheer number of times her name was mentioned during the commentary of the match, like all the time. On the other hand, I'd like to see it be Daria.
Yeah.
Because they have the New Jersey connection.
Get some more new women's blood in there.
Yeah, because I liked when they had that 6-women tag match, right, like around whatever, what was it, Takeover?
Yeah, it was right. It was right after I think everyone kind of moved up, because that's when all the spots kind of opened up for.
Yeah, and they had Alexa Bliss and Carmella
leading teams
of newer women, and it was funny because Liv Morgan would get in the ring and Corey Graves would berate and belittle New Jersey, and then Daria would get in the ring and
say that he loved New Jersey.
And say that he would never insult New Jersey in front of a woman like her.
Yeah.
Because she is tough.
Yeah. I'm thinking we might get Ember Moon, because she's kind of like she's the over baby face who is civil towards some of the other women, so she might come in and make the save. But I mean, with how many different new debuts we're getting, it could really be anybody at this point.
Yeah.
So we'll see where that goes. We also had another Dusty Classic match where we had TM61 take on the new tandem of Riddick Moss and Tino Sabatelli.
Yeah, Riddick Moss and Tino Sabatelli worked as a unit better than I expected. Even though it's because I had zero expectations, because Tino Sabatelli hasn't wrestled on TV yet.
Yeah, we saw him when we saw NXT here.
And then Riddick Moss.
That's about it.
Riddick Moss has only had about 4 or 5 matches on TV.
If that.
Most of them in jobbing tag teams or losing to Baron Corbin.
Yes. That was a shtick for him.
He even had a different Mike Rawless.
Yes.
For the first portion of his career. They worked well. Unfortunately, TM61 works better.
They've been together a little bit longer.
They work better for longer, and they have some of these moves where they just set their opponent up for their partner blindly, not even looking. That's the kind of chemistry that TM61 has.
They have that mental connection on top of their in-ring work.
Yeah, it was just one with Tino comes charging into the ring and one of them sidesteps him and half helps him shoot off the ropes while the other one pops out of nowhere for a drop kick.
Yeah.
It's what? Okay.
How did you know?
They didn't even look at each other. No communication, just pow done.
Yeah, it's
kind of like watching the Young Bucks.
Yeah, it's a 1-2 step where it's if I do this, then this person knows to do this, and it's just it works so well. It's one of those things that you look for in a tag team. And that ended up being their ticket to the second round of the Dusty Classic, as Riddick Moss was ejected from the ring and Tino Sabatelli took a trip to Thunder Valley.
Yeah. That move looks like it's full of suck.
Yes, that's the best way to put it. And then we had a rousing main event that the entire crowd was into when we had
from Down Under.
When we had Buddy Murphy take on Wesley Blake.
Man, this was just a barn burner. A rocket buster. A slobber knocker, if you will.
The crowd wanted nothing to do with this match.
No, eventually, I think just some of them picked sides just 'cause.
And it was, the 10 or 15 people that were chanting, it was quite split. And then
I feel like Buddy Murphy got the original chants, and then some people just picked up Wesley Blake just because the NXT audience liked to chant back.
They like to go back and forth. But there was a hint of a boring chant somewhere in there.
There was a "We Want Joe" chant before the match even started.
Yeah, right as this, the crowd almost knew that okay, this match is happening, so Joe can interfere.
Well, we've seen it twice now.
Yeah, and Joe did say that this week it was going to escalate.
Yeah, because the first time he beat up a tag team. Then he beat up Dan Matha, and now he's beating up a tag team that are going against each other.
Yeah.
Because he came out, he beat them up.
Yeah.
Not before though. I mean, not before Buddy Murphy pulled a great somersault over the top rope.
That was
clearing the padded area.
Yeah.
To the ramp.
And like,
for a guy who's not normally that style of wrestler in WWE.
Yeah, and Blake didn't have really much of an option but to catch him as he came right at his face.
Yeah.
So, a great landing, but it was quickly followed up by the slaughter by Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
And then Joe did
I think, despite the fact that most of the Joe work was on Buddy Murphy, I felt like Wesley Blake got the worst end of that. Because he tried to like jump off the apron at Joe, and Joe caught him in the SD Joe and just plopped him on the ground.
Like neither of them really had a fun time with this because I think Blake, or no, was it Murphy that got the Uranagi on the
apron.
On the apron, he also got sent fucking over the stairs.
Yeah.
And then
he hit the stairs and flipped over them with such velocity he hit the guardrail on the other side with his feet.
And it was bad to be Buddy Murphy or Wesley Blake at this particular moment. And then Joe calls out Regal saying, "Time is up. You either give me Shinsuke Nakamura or you give me my championship." And he got Shinsuke Nakamura after the commercial break. Shinsuke's back, ends up taking the neck brace off, and then they proceed to have the longest brawl I think two men have ever had in wrestling.
Maybe not ever.
In recent history.
Definitely in NXT history.
They fight in the ring, they fight around the ring, they fight up the ramp, they fight on the stage.
And most of it is Shinsuke, like, getting his revenge.
Shinsuke is not letting...
He's throwing bombs, and at one point, like, I love to get them, like, Joe retreats, he slides out of the ring, he starts backing up the ramp. Shinsuke, like, does the running knee slide out of the ring to the floor where he still lands on his knees.
Yeah.
Which, that has to hurt, like, motherfucker. But then he gets up and runs into a fucking soccer kick to Joe's balls.
Yeah. I forgot about
To which,
that.
like, Joe is somehow able to, like, no-sell probably the feeling of having to vomit and still fighting against the security, which all look like guys who are in the performance center right
one
now.
looked a lot like Motto, one looked a lot like Dozer. I don't know. Maybe they should team up some of these guys and put them in the Dusty Classic or something.
Yeah.
But like, what made it even better is not only did they brawl like up to the stage and around the ring like you usually do, but Shinsuke gets dragged down the stairs to Gorilla, then beats up the security guards, goes back up and attacks Joe again.
Yeah.
Then Joe ends up getting taken away.
Yeah, he finally gets enough space that he can like get the hell out of Dodge.
And so Shinsuke takes out his frustration on Dozer and hits a Kinshasa up on the stage. And as he's standing around just furious and he's like asking for his championship and he's just yelling in Japanese, Joe comes back.
Up the ramp.
He's made his way around the arena and comes back up and they fight again. And eventually, Shinsuke wins by hitting a Kinshasa on Joe, leaving him laying. And yeah, so quite the hectic end to NXT this week. So good on you, NXT, for a thoroughly entertaining episode.
Yeah.
With some little bit of everything for everybody.
So Wesley Blake.
A whole lot for Wesley Blake. So with that, let's finish off with Lucha Underground, where we open up with probably the cheesiest little backstage thing that they've done, especially towards the end. We had Dragon Azteca getting ready for his match against Pentagon Dark, since he beat Chavo last week. But Chavo wasn't having it and ends up taking out Dragon Azteca with a chair.
Yeah, attempted murder.
He just bashes his head in with the chair like 3 or 4 times against a wall. He decides he's gonna take this match against Pentagon Dark. He's walking away. He happens to cross paths with Rey Mysterio. Ray makes his way back, sees that Dragon Azteca is down and is knocked out cold, and the only thing that he's able to muster is the strength to yell, Chavo!
Well, he did initially yell for somebody to help.
Yeah.
Which also then nobody showed up to help.
Yeah,
Until after, yeah.
The hell?
Locker room full of douchebags. My bad.
Anyway.
Nobody come and attack me, please.
Just the entire Lucha Underground roster.
We're not douchebags.
Then we had a tag team match where Masquerita Sagrada and Son of Havoc looked to get some revenge on Dr. Wagner Jr. and Famous B. I think this is the first time we've seen Famous B actually in a match since he started this whole 4-2-3 get fame gimmick.
Absolutely, yeah. It was really interesting because I had completely forgotten that Son of Havoc also had beef with these guys.
Yeah, because Dr. Wagner screwed him out of his title match at Ultima Lucha Tres.
Yeah, you get the case full of money.
Yeah.
But I'd completely forgot about that, and so I was like, oh, okay. So, I mean, I saw there was this, and it makes sense now why they were hanging out together in that one that one vignette or whatever you
Where they were
call it.
hanging out in his mom's basement?
Yeah. But I didn't put that together until they were like explaining it during the match. It's like, oh yeah, that did happen. So Son of Havoc isn't just like buddies with Masquerita Sagrada. He also has beef.
But why wouldn't you be friends with Masquerita Sagrada?
So much beef that he added a sidecar to his motorcycle.
Yeah.
For Masquerita to ride in on. And then plow his own face into when he dove onto Dr. Wagner.
Do this dive and he bounces off Dr. Wagner and just whacks his face on the sidecar. I was like, oh my god, he's so little.
When he finally gets up, he's like stumbling around.
Yeah, he's so little. He just like he can't control his body. He just kind of falls places. And so yeah, it's a lot of Dr. Wagner is controlling most of the match. Famous B doesn't really get in and do a whole lot. He plays that like once the face is down, he gets tagged in and gets his shots in. But yeah, Dr. Wagner's the one really pulling most of the weight in this match.
Famous B starts getting his just desserts though.
Yeah, a little bit. He's starting to get it, and he ends up. Masquerita ends up going on a run.
He gives him an airplane spin.
Yeah, that shocks me every time. Like, the commentary like freaks out every time John Cena picks up Big Show. I freak out when Masquerita picks up anybody. Like, that just doesn't seem natural for me. But he does
like a paper airplane spin.
Yes, and then he like throws him forward out of the
wasteland.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And he does that, and Son of Havoc is then set up. He's getting ready to go for the shooting star. Dr. Wagner ends up shoving Son of Havoc off the top rope, and then unfortunately, Masquerita Sagrada gets destroyed with the doctor driver or the Michinoku driver, doctor driver, and Dr. Wagner and Famous B pick up the win,
marking Famous B's first win in Lucha Underground.
Yeah. Season 3 took you long enough.
Well, he didn't have any matches during Season 2.
That's true. Yeah, he got taken out by Pentagon Jr. in Season 1.
Because he was part of the Broken Arm Club.
Yeah, and then it wasn't until towards the end of the season that he was actually known as the 4-2-3 Get Fame guy. And then he was just hanging out with Masquerita Sagrada for most of Season 2.
Yeah.
We also had another TikTok They'll Be Here Soon vignette with kind of focusing on like the rabbit hole, which once again, if you've seen the trailer for Season 3,
which I didn't,
I'm pretty sure that whomever this is kind of aligns himself with the WUG, Worldwide Underground, for those of you that aren't keeping up with the way we say it, because there is a fourth member of WUG that isn't Taya. And they have like crazy like very Clockwork Orange kind of look with like the pinwheel, the black and white pinwheel behind them. So I don't know. I could be wrong, but that's from what I got from the trailer. That's what we're going to be getting here. Speaking of the WUG, we had Jack Evans getting his shot at the Gift of the Gods Championship against Sexy Star.
A very game, Sexy Star.
Yeah, no, she was not taking any of Jack Evans' shit. Jack Evans started by saying that not only after this match will they call me champion, not only will they call me the Dragon Slayer, but they'll call me the Star Destroyer. And then he got slapped across the face.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's Jack Evans being a little dick, but Sexy Star just kind of shutting him down every chance she gets.
And then Worldwide Underground doing their best to be as interference-y as possible.
It was the weirdest, because like they do this weird. Okay, so they always kind of do those still shots of like the crowd, so you can kind of get their reaction, and they do like an upward shot, and you're getting this reaction from this section of the crowd, and then all of a sudden, one of the crowd members steps onto the guardrail and jumps in, and I'm like, oh, that's PJ Black.
Yeah.
He ends up getting up on the top rope, does a little guitar solo on a kendo stick, and
to which they add sound effects in post.
which is actually kind of funny. So he's doing that, and the referee's trying to get him to get down, get out of the ring. And on the other side, we get Johnny Mundo coming in and spearing Sexy Star on the outside, tossing her back in. Pretty much easy pickings for Jack Evans at this point, but she ends up kicking out, and the entire WUG goes, what the fuck is going on? So then Johnny ends up getting in the ring, distracting the referee.
This prompts Aerostar to come out and yank him off the apron.
Yeah, and so that helps out.
Doesn't Drago come out and get PJ Black?
Yeah, PJ ends up getting taken out by Drago, which leaves the kendo stick for Sexy Star in the ring. Sexy Star just whacks Jack Evans in the balls. ends up there was another like pin attempt or something.
Yeah, well, Jack Evans tried to pin her using the ropes, and Phoenix came out
yeah.
and like stopped that, stopped it from happening. Got in the ring, and the referee's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" He's like, "I don't even know how I got here,
Phoenix
man."
is just as confused as everyone else. He ends up getting out. Then we get the kendo stick to the nuts, and then Jack Evans gets pinned. Sexy Star retains the Gift of the Gods Championship. So we got all kinds of fuckery going on in this
Worldwide
Atomico
Underground
situation.
and the Trios champions still beefing.
Yeah. She ended up hitting that 3/4 fisherman neck breaker too. That's a good move. So yeah, we'll see where this ends up going. Especially now that this will make sense if this person aligns themselves with the WUG, the whole TikTok person, because Taya is apparently injured.
Yeah.
Because she was not part of this whole situation.
Well, no, when they had the 8-man last week, or the week before.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
She took a spill out of the ring and hurt her ankle.
Yeah. So, so this could be the replacement for Taya for the continuation of the storyline. So then we have Dario getting the update that Dragon Azteca is not going to be able to make it to the match, and so he decides he's going to give that match, because he's already told Pentagon that he's getting a match. He's on his way to the ring. So he's going to give the match to Chavo. But not before Ray comes in and says, no, the reason that Dragon isn't going to be in this match is because of Chavo. And so
it's like, you get a new main event, me versus Chavo. Let's fight.
And so then
You piece of shit.
Ray Ray throwing out the 4-letter words, which is not something we're used to from Rey Mysterio.
Whoa.
They end up having
it's like the first time you ever hear like a 12-year-old say a cuss word.
They end up having like a little fight in front of Dario's desk, and Dario's loving it.
Yeah, because Ray is making Chavo look like a little bitch.
And then Chavo ends up getting a little bit and ends up like slamming Ray down on the desk. So that prompts Dario to make a triple threat match between Pentagon Dark, Rey Mysterio Jr., and Chavo Guerrero. And these three beat the shit out of each other. Like, Pentagon obviously has his very aggressive, I'm just going to hit you as hard as I can, as many times as I can. And that's his whole shtick. We got Ray with this newfound athleticism, just going full-on luchador out there. And then Chavo's kind of that middle ground where you're getting the vicious strikes, but you're also getting a lot of the technique, that Guerrero style, which makes this whole match just a really interesting triple threat to watch. And, each of them have their own issues with each other, which just kind of adds to it, makes you wonder who's going to get the upper hand on who. And eventually, let's see, we have Ray is getting ready to go for probably a frog splash on Pentagon Dark, but Chavo ends up getting up and actually crotches him on the top rope, at which point Pentagon Dark gets up, super kicks Chavo off of the apron, and with Ray in position is able to just scoop him up into the package pile driver, drop him down, and pin Rey Mysterio. Then he's not done. He's getting ready to break Rey Mysterio's arm, that being the MO of Pentagon Dark. Rey's actually able to kind of squirm his way out of that and hit like a head scissors and send Pentagon Dark flying across the ring.
It's cool seeing somebody counter Pentagon's attempt to do the arm break.
Yeah, I think that's maybe happened once, with Cage, I think, just because Cage is so big.
Maybe, I don't remember.
I don't know. I feel like it's only been done once or twice before, but yeah, Rey's able to just send Pentagon Dark out of the ring. Pentagon doesn't need to do anything more at this point.
No.
Because Chavo gets in and starts beating the shit out of Rey with a chair. And then
sticks him up on Tree of Woe with the chair and banging his knee with it.
Yeah, because it's not a secret that Rey has had
14 knee surgeries.
Yeah, he's on par with Kevin Nash as far as knee surgeries go.
Which is interesting to see how different their leg sizes are.
Yeah. And so anyone who saw their deal in WWE, that was kind of the thing that was a reoccurring sequence in their feud there. So they're carrying this over. Chavo is still not good at making friends in Lucha Underground. So we'll see what the status of Rey Mysterio is, what the status of Dragon Azteca Jr. is. I believe now next week we're having Prince Puma versus Mil Muertes. That's officially happening. And I believe that Pentagon Dark winning this match, if I'm not mistaken, they said that the winner of this match got a title match.
I don't remember.
So something along. I know we're still doing. I think this means that Pentagon Dark is getting a title match at Ultima Lucha Trace. Don't know for sure. Lucas, I know you watch Lucha Underground. Let me know if I'm correct about that in the comments. But yeah, so we'll see where this ends up going. We didn't get a whole lot of story build in this one, which was
not a ton.
No, it was more so the action in the ring. So that's it for the midweek wrap up. Thanks for watching.
Don't forget to like and comment and subscribe.
Click all the links down in the description. They'll send you to all of our social medias.
So many of the social medias.
They'll also send you to our SoundCloud where you can listen to this podcast and all of our regular reviews throughout the week. That being Indie News, Raw Review, SmackDown Rundown, and Midweek Wrap Up.
All of which are also in the playlist.
Yeah.
That's over here if you're on the computator. Down below if you're on your mobile device.
Yeah, so for those of you that are listening on SoundCloud, come on over and check out the videos because you can check out our review of last Sunday's No Mercy. You'll also get other extra videos that you don't get podcast style as they pop up throughout the month.
Yeah, stuff like top fives and prediction videos.
Exactly. You'll also get more videos if you head over to our other channel.
Reasonable Wrestling Fans. It's reasonable with a W, like wrestling.
Where you get to see unboxing videos, reaction videos, punishment videos, one of which you can watch Kevin Hawk freak the fuck out as I feed him ghost pepper hot sauce.
I didn't freak out.
Yeah,
I just was in immense amounts of pain.
And
the freak out was afterwards.
Yes, no, it got a lot worse once the camera was off. I wish I would have kept the camera going. But that
we had more shit to do though, so we couldn't stall.
Yeah, so that will be up there. You can also see me drinking assy smoothie, me getting hit with a kendo stick,
me drinking mustard milk,
all kinds of stuff happening over there. So check out Reasonable Wrestling Fans. Check us out here at the Wrestling Rundown. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at whatever video you decide to watch next. And we'll see you next week for episode 123.
Fuck mustard milk.
Kind of like Mojo Rawley.
I'd rather drink mustard milk.
You know it, bro.